Individualism and realism were closely connected for Courbet, who felt that the artist could only realize himself through an immersion in the physical world. I believe that painting is an essentially concrete art and can only consist in the representation of real and existing things. An abstract object does not belong in the domain of painting. Courbet's technique, with its loose brushwork and sweeps of the palette knife, producing simple, very physical surfaces of thick oil paint, tangibly records his engagement with the physical stuff of this world. Courbet's landscapes, with their simple natural elements, trees, crags, waterfalls, emphasize the primacy of the eye over the conventions of academic art. Placing himself and his art at the center of his political allegory, The Painter's Studio, he asserted the importance of the painter's individuality and his independence from the demands of the state and the artistic establishment. But his attack on the values of the salon was not a sign of indifference to it. His Bathers is a parody of the rhetorical poses of the classical tradition, with its blatantly unidealized women. The nude, too, that most traditional of subjects, had become part of the realist project.
Courbet's egalitarian ideas, his rejection of academic art, his insistence on being true to the appearance of the modern world as he saw it, all had a great influence on Manet and the Impressionists. But the modernity which they thought they should confront and portray in their art was not that of the country, but of the city, with its new classes, its parks, its suburbs, and its fashionable life. Baudelaire himself made a pioneer plea for a new art of the city when he said that the true artist will be he who snatches from the life of today its epic quality, who makes us see and understand how great, how poetic we are in our cravats and our patent leather boots.
Edouard Manet outlived Courbet by only a decade, but his work seems to belong to a different era. His own position as a fashionable man in the monde and demi-monde was not unusual, but this world had not hitherto been regarded as suitable raw material for art.
In 1862, he painted a fashionable gathering listening to music in the Tuileries Gardens. His technique was harshly criticized by his contemporaries. It was emphatically unlike the manual dexterity of academic training. He was criticized for treating everything alike. Clothes, umbrellas, chairs are given just as much significance as a face. The picture was contrived to seem artless, a personal response to his optical experience. And this in itself was an attack on academic hierarchies, of the face over the body, of the hero over the ordinary person in the street. But the first major scandal of Manet's career was provoked when he submitted the Déjeuner sur l'herbe to the Salon in 1863. It was rejected. The Déjeuner was a parody of earlier artistic traditions. Manet said, "I'm going to redo Giorgione's picture in the transparency of the atmosphere, with figures like you see over there by the river." The Déjeuner is an attempt, like Courbet's Bathers, to paint the nude in a modern way. But these are clearly city people, people you might know. And in bringing the scene up to date, Manet too has subverted the meaning of the earlier tradition. The situation is hard to fathom. Gestures and expressions make no obvious sense. And yet the directness of the woman's gaze invites us to participate in this equivocal situation. Undeterred by the reception of the déjeuner sur l'herbe, Manet submitted Olympia to the Salon in 1865. It was accepted, but it provoked great derision. The model was thought hideous and her surroundings degraded. Olympia, with her black servant, was identified by some critics as a Parisian prostitute. The treatment of the painting also shocked the viewers. The paint is applied with a calculated simplicity, and the lighting is harsh and frontal, leaving a ribbon of dark shadow round her body. Her presence is quite at odds with the finesse of academic painting. Olympia exposes the conventions which structured the display of sexuality in the nudes which were successful at the Salon. Nudes such as Cabanel's Birth of Venus, which won the Medal of Honor in 1863. Violating the principle that nudes in art must be remote and passive, this modern Venus challenges the viewer to respond to her gaze. Olympia is silenced but not rendered powerless by her position. And in the heavily censored regime of Napoleon III, she brought through the gates of the Salon a disturbing suggestion that there were elements in modern life that might not be under control.